with Jurgen Klopp, when he brought the team sheet in that night, I'm thinking, why? And he just stared at us. He didn't engage in anything else.
Okay, Mark, we'll get to the Dewsbury Hall booking shortly. But before that, what did you make of the officiating during the game?
It's interesting because we've saw different styles of refereeing. We watched Stuart Atwell yesterday in the Arsenal-Manchester City game, who I thought had a really good game. I thought Darren England in the Merseyside derby was, some of the decision making was strange. It wasn't in keeping with what we expect, certainly at Premier League level, and I just felt, we can talk about the Dewsbury Hall in a second, but it was just the added on time, the way, Everton are chasing the game. It's such a, it's a difficult fixture, as I already know, because I messed it up that many years ago. It's not an easy fixture. It's certainly easier at Liverpool than it is at Everton. But I just felt that, it didn't handle the pressure and the occasion like a top, experienced referee like Anthony Taylor would have.
Why do you say it's easier at Anfield?
It's when you go to I don't know now with the new stadium, but certainly when it was at Goodison, the fans were on top of you. It was a different atmosphere. It was the same. If you look at other derbies, I always felt it was harder at City than it was at United. It was harder at Tottenham than it was at Arsenal. It's just the added on pressure. Maybe when you go to the probably you can argue, people will argue, but Liverpool are probably the most successful club in Liverpool. And, when Everton come into town, it's not as difficult as at Anfield than it would be at Goodison, where the underdogs are trying to beat the number one team. And I think it's the same at Sunderland and Newcastle. It's, every referee that I spoke to said it was easier at St James's than it was at the Stadium of Light. So it has its thing, but I just felt he didn't manage the overall atmosphere very well. I thought, Liverpool was certainly putting pressure on him, as they have been all season, and that's something that I've saw in slots. His attitude, the way his players go about it, it's got a bit of Sir Alex Ferguson-esque about it. And when I spoke to some of the Dutch referees who had come across him in Holland over the previous seasons, he hasn't changed his style. He's always putting pressure, and then pressure sometimes can give you that little 1% edge, which can get you over the line.
That's really interesting, because when we talk about the continuity of football, when managers change, we look at tactics and players and, as you know, maybe their approach in the media, but very rarely do people talk about the referees. And I've spoken to a few floor managers that have worked on Premier League games, so they sit right next to where the managers are. And all of them have said to me the same thing over the course of, say, the last 10 years, that Jurgen Klopp is the one that is on the referees the most. So do you think that is something that it helps Liverpool if they brought in a manager who's similar?
I think let's not just highlight Jurgen Klopp. I think there's a lot of managers do it. But what I did notice with Liverpool, it wasn't just Jurgen Klopp. It was the goalkeeping coach. It was the other coaches that were always putting pressure. And it wasn't always, because the focus is always on Jurgen Klopp. The cameras are always on Jurgen Klopp. But if you ever saw, it's the same Eddie Howe. I'm sure Eddie Howe isn't, silent. Tyndale is the one that does all the talking. So there's every manager will look and see the other manager doing it, and so they'll try it. It's that 1%. They believe psychologically it works. It doesn't work. I think referees are now, they have so much training, they have so much management education where they know how to end conflict, and there's a lot of other stuff that goes into just the laws of the game. And I think referees at the top level see it and understand it more than they ever do, because you knew it was a tactic. You knew. I had a situation with Jurgen Klopp where he never came in with the team sheets, and when I was refereeing Liverpool-Chelsea, he decided to come in with the team sheets, which was unusual, and he just stared at us. He tried to intimidate us, but as an experienced referee, I've seen this all before, so it didn't bother me. But they think that they're trying to do something that's different to try and get a result, and if they get the result, they think it works, but I don't believe it does with the style of refereing that we've got now.
So he brought you the team sheet and he just stopped and stared at you. He's quite a large man.
Yeah. But he never brought. When you see, when the team sheet came in, the captains can slightly change sometimes if they're available or not. But the normal people who would come in with the team sheets would always be the same people. And this game, Jurgen Klopp never delivered the team sheet. Jose Mourinho did, but Jurgen Klopp never. And with Jurgen Klopp, when he brought the team sheet in that night, I'm thinking, why? And he just stared at us. He didn't engage in anything else, but his eyes just continuously stared at us, and that was just trying to intimidate us. But you know, I was experienced at the time. It didn't really affect me. But some of the younger referees who are trying to, there's a lot of inexperience now in the Premier League that Howard Webb's trying to blood because he's lost a lot of experienced referees over the years. Will that, certainly when the fourth officials, because some of the fourth officials now are Football League referees, are they trying to intimidate and put pressure on? I'm not sure what a fourth official can do, by the way, because, what can a fourth official do? Speak with the referee and say, yeah, by the way, you've made a mistake. It never happens, does it? So, I'm not sure what they can do with a fourth official, but they are trying everything now to win a game.
Graham, how do you think you'd get on with a staring Jurgen Klopp?
I had it a few times in the press conferences, when you're asking them the questions not expecting. I asked him about Mo Salah going to African Cup of Nations, and he stared at me and then gave me a wry smile. So he's probably a bit friendlier to me than he was to Mark.